Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fujit's Blitz. And we're still on the Ace of the Week gallery for week 3, March 2019. And this is part 2, where we've got some great replays for you. First off, we have a good friend of mine, Fizzy11 of the clan GPA, rolling out in the M4190, the Cruel Twist camo. This is the German Tier 8 light tank. It's a premium tank, and it's on the EU server. Now, to be honest with you, the M4190 is, in all essence, a buffed Walker Bulldog, which is the Tier 7 American tech tree tank. And it is buffed. I mean, this thing has better HP, it has better DPM, better to penetration, it has better damage. In fact, it's just a buffed version of that tank. Okay, so the reload time is longer. I mean, in the Walker Bulldog, you've got a reload time of just under 4 seconds, which gives you a rate of fire of 15 rounds a minute, where on this, it's just over 5.5 seconds, giving you only 10 rounds a minute. However, I mean, when you look at the fact that this thing will dish out 240 damage with a penetration of 182, compared to the Bulldog, which dishes out 160 with a penetration of 155, effectively, it's a buffed Bulldog. So what is it about this tank? Well, it's not just a buffed Bulldog, it's German as well. So the Germans took the M41 Bulldog and they gave it a better gun, effectively. But don't forget, I mean, this is a premium tank. It's a tier higher than the Tech Tree Bulldog, so it is going to be slightly buffed. Like the Bulldog, it's a similar game style, guys. I mean, this is a light tank. It's got light tank camo, and it's got light tank armor, which is basically non-existent. The idea of this thing is to run around, spot everything up, and then snipe, and it does that exceptionally well. This is a funky little tank, but it's not that much different from the Bulldog. Now, it's not currently on sale in the stores, but it will come around again eventually, and it brings something slightly different to the tier. I like this tank, but then again, I like the Bulldog. The biggest difference between the two, as I say, is the tiers. I mean, the Bulldog is basically a tier 7, and this is a tier 8. But Fizz is playing it the way you would play a Bulldog with all intents and purposes. Although, I mean, that was a really good amount of air he just got a minute ago. It's a nice tank, don't get me wrong. And like the Bulldog, and like most lights, it's a tricky tank. But if you play it like this, and I did a review on one of the American lights, and I said, you know, the thing about some of these tanks, they don't like standing still. And this is the same with the Cruel Twist. It doesn't like being stationary. It likes moving. It's got a fantastic gun. You are able to shoot on the move, and you're able to dish out a lot of harm. It's a nice tank. And if you play it like Fizz is playing it, you will have a barrel of fun. I mean, okay, it's got this typical crap depression, but it's got a really good reload, and it's got a really good amount of damage. It's a nice tank, and you know, Fizz is down over 3,000 damage here, taken 4 kills, bounced nothing, which is not surprising when you're in a light tank, and he's had a really good time on the battlefield. It's one of those tanks that, you know, can you live without it? Yeah, of course you can. You can get the M41 Bulldog, but it's a nice addition to the Tier 8 line, and I love that game, and I love that tank, and I'd like to thank Fizzy11 of GPA for kindly sharing that replay with us. I mean, 3,596 damage, a well-deserved mastery, 5 kills, and boy, it was a great game. So, next up, really good friend of mine, Grums23 at the Clan FTC3, part of my clan family, yay! Rolling out in one of my favourite Tier 9 tanks, the ST1, the Russian Tier 9 Heavy, again on the EU server. Now, this tank is a beast of a tank, and I love it. But why do I love it? Well, I love it because this thing has got some really quirky armor. I mean, it's almost impenetrable. You stick this in the right position and you will bounce all the day long. DPM, okay, it's not that brilliant, 2,381. Penetration is really good, 258. Damage, pretty average, 420. Reload time, it's pretty long, guys. It's just shy of 11 seconds in real terms, giving you just over 5.5 rounds a minute. Aim time, pretty long, 2.5 seconds. Dispersion, well, it's okay, but it's not the best. And the gun depression is a meager 8 degrees. So, what's going for this tank? If I'm saying it's pretty average. Not high damage, not amazing reload times, not good gun depression, and not good mobility. Wow, the armor. The armor on this thing is absolutely awesome. Front on, this is like the IS-4. It is almost impossible to penetrate. And don't forget, I mean, this effectively leads to the IS-4 in any event. So it's going to be similar armor. And the hull on this is realistically not that much different to the IS-4. The turret, well, clearly it's a lot bigger and it's a bit more bulbous. But again, it's a pretty tough tank to pen. And it can really hold its own against some of the tier 10s. Okay, it's got a relatively longish reload. And it hasn't got the best damage output in its tier. But it's got fantastic penetration. And, you know, you can really, really put the world to rights in this thing. And as you can see here, Grums is playing it quite conservatively, which is not a bad thing to do. He is waiting for the other team to push, and once he's got the opportunity, he's going to pop out and he's going to punish them, because this thing will pen most tanks that it comes across, be them tier 9 or tier 10. And that's why this tank is one of my favorites, because you can play this like a real heavy. I mean, watch this. Boom, gone. I mean, that's a Death Star. And, okay, he's just taken a bit of pain there because that was a great shot coming in. But he hasn't lost half his hit points, he's only lost a few. And he gets to dish out in kind. He's already done over 2,000 damage. He's bounced 700. He's taken a kill. And he's on the front line. And okay, you can live with that long reload time. It's not that long in real terms, but it's long enough. But if you play the tank correctly, like all tanks, to be honest, it really is a formidable tier 9. And it is, hands down in my book, one of the best tier 9 tanks. It's certainly one of the most forgiving because of its armor profile. And, you know, this is just a really good tank. It's fantastic. Well, I think it is. You may disagree with me, I don't know. But the thing I do know about it is, I mean, I love the IS-4, and I do love this tank, and, you know, it is rock solid. I mean, look at that, bounce. He's now bounced over, well, just shy of 1,500. This tank can do that, guys. Front on, like I said, it's almost impossible to pen. And you're still dishing out really good alpha damage at tier 9. I mean, 438 there he dished into that tier 10. You can do this. This is why this tank is really, really versatile. It's a heavy, but it doesn't struggle that much mobility-wise. It will. I mean, he's now bounced 2,000. He's dished out 3,200. I love this tank. And I know for a fact Grums loves it. I mean, this is one of many replays he sent me of him going out in the ST1. And this is one of many masteries that he got in this tank. Because it's a tank that once you're used to it, once you know it, once you understand it, you can be really effective with it. And you can go from strength to strength. And when I see this tank on the battlefield, even when I'm in a tier 10, it does worry me because it's a tricky tank to deal with, even if you're in a tier 10. It's a great, fantastic tank, and I know Grums loves this tank. I mean, okay, it's got a Russian gun, so it's not always the best gun, but now he's just sat there bouncing away, almost 3,000 now. He's brilliant, and it's not, you know, he's not dishing out great amounts of damage there, but he's managed to bring the game back 3-on-3. And he's still bouncing. This is why the ST1 is great. I mean, you can go out in this thing and just bounce till the cows come home. And you know what? That allows your team to put fire down on the enemy. And this is the thing that people don't understand. This is how you're meant to play the heavy line of tanks, guys, especially those that can front line, like the Mouse and like the ST1. I mean, he's now bounced 3,200. It's brilliant. And, you know, when you play it like this, boy, you are really, really helping your team. Okay, there's only like 7 seconds to go. You're not going to win this game. He gets a great little engine fire there, gets his second kill, but it's a draw. He gets a well-deserved mastery, 4,600 damage. I mean, that is brilliant. And I'd like to thank my friend Grums23 of FTC3 for kindly sharing that replay with us. Last but by no means least, another good friend of mine, Chief Cody of the Clan 2 UK. He's rolling out in the WZ121 the Chinese Tier 10 Medium, again on the EU server. Now, I like the 121, I like the 121B, and I like this tech tree version, the 121. However, it's a bit tricky. I mean, its hit points are really not great. I mean, 1,800. Its view range ain't that great. DPM ain't that great at 3,000. Penetration, well, it's pretty average, 245, but the damage goes up to 400, which is the best of all the Tier 10 mediums. When you look at all Tier 10s, then obviously it's not that great, because in Tier 10 there you've got the Death Star and stuff like that. But as for the mediums, it's got the best damage. What about the rate of fire? Oh, well, it's got the slowest reload of all the Tier 10 mediums at 8 seconds, and a rate of fire of just over 7.5 shells. Aim time, it's the best. I mean, less than a second to get that reticle down. Depression, a measly 6 degrees. Well, you can live with it. I mean, it's a medium after all. So, Chief Cody has already dispatched the Mouse. It's gone. Boom. Out of there. And that's a pretty formidable target, guys. I mean, the Mouse is, you know, just a big chunk of Krupp steel. He's already dished out over 1,000 damage. He's already bounced 300, and he's already taken a kill. And his paintwork hasn't even been scratched yet. This is a fantastic tank. But, like all tanks, you need to know how to play it. And a lot of people struggling it because they don't. Hull down, boy, this thing is like a big ball of rubber. That turret is superb at bouncing things. Hull, not so great. You know, you stick this thing out in the open and people can take your engine decks and stuff like that. You know, you're gonna be in a bit of trouble. Stick this thing hull down, stick it like this. It's a good, relatively good side scraper. You will have fun. The gun on it, however, is truly, truly awesome. Okay, you haven't got the best pen. Okay, it's got a long reload. Okay, you can live with that because the aim time is fantastic and the damage it will put out is massive for a medium tank. You know, don't kid yourselves, this is a medium. Okay, it's a little bit heavy for a normal medium. It's not the fastest tank in the line, let's be fair. I mean, it's pretty fast though. You get 56 going forwards, 20 going backwards. I mean, that makes it the third fastest medium, and it makes it the going forwards and the second fastest going backwards. So it's pretty good at getting you out of trouble. But I come back to that gun. I mean, that gun is really good. And look at this. He's now bounced over 1,000. This tank has the ability to do that, and Chief Cody knows this, and if you notice, he's angling it and he's making sure that they're only hitting that bloody turret, and that makes it really, really difficult. It's as simple as that, and you can be unbelievably effective in this thing. Okay, you have to wait for that loader but when the loader's sorted himself out, you know, he's already taken 4 kills, he's dished over 4,000 damage, and he's bounced just shy of 2,000. It's a fantastic tank, and when you know how to play it, it is truly fantastic. But I keep telling you back to this point, it's really tricky. Cody knows how to play it. I mean, this is obvious. He knows how to utilize its armor, he knows the best positions to put it in, and if you notice, he doesn't put himself in harm's way until he has loaded, because he knows that reticle is going to get down really quick. 4 kills, 6,300 damage. Well deserved mastery. Fantastic game. And I'd really like to thank Chief Cody of 2UK for sharing that replay with us, along with I'd like to thank Fizzy11 of GPA and Grums23 of FTC3. Guys, your replays are fantastic, and it's been a real pleasure to watch you get those masteries. Well, I've been Fujit. That's it for part 2. There's a part 3 to come up. I'd like to thank again all the guys who've sent their replays in. I mean, this is all about you. It's not about me. By all means, if you've got any decent replays, send them to me, fujitsblitz@gmail.com. Please comment, like, or even dislike. Share your thoughts on what you think of these replays. And if you haven't yet, please press subscribe. It's a nice thing to do, puts a smile on my face, and it costs you nothing in real terms. And until the next time, stay safe out there, have fun on the battlefield, and happy tanking. Because you know what? It's all about that, having fun and being happy.